What if there are certain secrets that are scientifically proven to help you change your habits? Would you be interested to learn and apply these tools to improve your life? Let's start with our childhood. When we were kids, I know some of us still are, we didn't need the research to tell us what to do to be happy. Now, with all the research available, how many of us still struggle to establish new or change the existing habits? The 7 secrets of habits and happiness that I learned when I was 7 still apply today. I will teach you in this lesson by sharing my story. So, growing up in Sarajevo, there was this hilly street in my neighborhood that would be closed most of the winter to car traffic due to impossible driving conditions. And all the kids from the neighborhood, including myself, would go there with sleds, and many of them homemade. And we would climb as high as we possibly could and then sled down. So sledding down from the top of the hill, the first time we would end up at the bottom in a certain place. The second time we would end up yet in a different place. And then the third time we would end up yet another place. So after going, let's say, 21 to 30 times, and you learn later on based on the research that is exactly how long it takes to establish a new habit, we started using a well-established track without even trying. That's exactly what our brain does for us. So regardless of whether or not the habits we created are good for us or bad for us, the brain will follow the path we have already established. So please think for a moment, what habit would you like to establish? Maybe start exercising, lose weight, gain weight, eat healthier food, stop eating junk food, stop eating junk food, to be clear. Practice one of the positive psychology tools that we're going to introduce. Maybe start meditating, practice mindfulness, or simply improve your life. I can't see you, but truly believe that most of you watching this lesson, yes, I recorded this lesson and now I'm watching it too, are ready to make some significant changes in our lives, and most of us, right? And that means that changing our habits. So think again of that habit you want to establish or change. So in a moment, I will ask you to pause the video. And in the attached section, there's a card that looks just like this. And that is our 30-day challenge exercise. So please print this card or simply take a piece of paper if that's easier for you and copy some of the information for now. The card will be very helpful and you should have it with you all the time and or your piece of paper. But this information will be very helpful. So please do not stop doing what you're doing if you are driving, operating heavy machinery. Otherwise, just please pause this lecture, print a card or get a piece of paper and just get back with that piece of paper and your card and the pen ready. We'll continue. Okay, so I see you back. So write your name on the hand and the habit that you are going to change. So write your name and the habit you're going to change. Good. Now, let's talk about habits. There are 4 types of habits. Now, you're saying, well, he asked us for a piece of paper, now he's teaching us. Yes, keep that piece of paper handy, and as we go through the exercise, I'm going to teach you and we'll do some exercise. So officially, so we said there are 4 types of habits. Now, officially, actually 3. But since I had to contribute to the science of happiness, and I added the 4th one. I had to put my name on the map, right? So number 1 is physical habits. So that's like brushing our teeth or tying up shoelaces. And number 2 is emotional habits. So believe it or not, being happy, sad, angry could all be routines that we create unknowingly. Number 3 are the thinking habits. Now, often when something triggers it, our brain goes into the certain thinking mode. And, negative or positive and optimistic thoughts could become our habits. Most of us didn't think of this. Most of us didn't think that our thoughts could become, and sometimes are, basically based on our habits. And there's something what I call the circle habit. And I believe that coined the term, but if anyone watching, just please, you're welcome to claim this term and receive all the glorious rewards that I would have get otherwise, but that's okay. So, what are the circle habits? Circle habits are new habit promises we make to ourselves, but do not and or cannot keep. Again, circle habits are habit promises we make to ourselves, but do not and cannot keep. For example, I will start exercising tomorrow. I will start meditating next week. I'm going to start eating healthier food next month. I will stop eating junk food as soon as we come back from a vacation, and so on. Sounds familiar? Right. So these habits are just simply not good for us. There are 2 simple techniques to overcome these habits. And the first one is just do it. As Nike said, just do it. It's not an easy thing to do, but that's one way. You said you're going to do it, just do it. And number 2 is to put it off until you are ready to do it. Just put it off until you're ready to do it. Now, let's go back to Sarajevo. Before I went up to that hill, my thought was, yes, I can. I believed in myself. I believed that I can create a habit of going down the hill and establish a track that will take minimal to none effort and to establish my habit of sliding down the hill. Thomas the Train said, I think I can, I think I can. And I said, yes, I know I can. And as my dear friend, my mentor, and simply a great guy, we talked about him earlier, Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar said, this must be based on grounded optimism. In fact, little did I know, the research done by Dr. Bruce Lipton shows that when we believe in something, when we truly believe, our bodies, all the way down to the cell level changes. Imagine that. Our bodies, once we believe in something, changes all the way down to the cell level. So, first thing you want to do if you want to change your habits, you must believe you can change your habits. In another program, I had somebody who said, well, for 40 years, I believed that I should not be happy, and how can I just simply change it? I will not be able to answer this in this quick lecture, but I do want to explain, no, you cannot easily change 40 years of belief. That is a complicated process, but you can take it step by step, and we're going to cover some of these steps later. Now, a night before I went to that hill, I would smile. I would smile. I would think how happy this adventure would make me. I would smile because I was happy. I would be happy. I was happy that I'm going to go to that hill. Now, I didn't know back then, there was a research done by Mayo Clinic and shows that smile, in addition to many other benefits, actually improves our personal satisfaction and therefore helps us establish a new habit. When we smile, we actually trick our brain into thinking we are happy. And when our brain thinks we are happy, it releases dopamine, a happy chemical. So you may want to look at, again, in another program, since you're already in this one, in another program on habits and happiness, you will see a lecture on smile and learn about dopamine and what really happens and how do we get dopamine and so on. Now, I didn't go all the way up the hill, day one, because if I did, all the way up, What would happen? If I did two things. Number one, I would be probably afraid to go down. It was a scary hill. Or even if I went down, I would probably get hurt. You know, it's like doing a marathon without practicing. And if I would get hurt, I would probably never try again. So instead, I started with the baby steps. I would go up maybe only 50 feet, then 100 feet, then 300 feet, and so on, until I was ready to go all the way up. And every time I went to this, 50 feet, 100, 200, 300, every time I accomplished a small goal. And I felt good about it. And I would get a dose of my dopamine, a happy chemical that would keep me going. I didn't know that back then. In fact, research done by Dr. Carl Weck from the University of Texas shows how these, what he calls small wins, can actually help us establish a big goal, a new habit in our case. For example, if you want to create an exercise habit, start exercising, 1 minute a day, 2 minutes a day, until it becomes a habit. Again, in another my program, you'll learn how I started exercising. Maybe just look at the treadmill for a minute and be happy, get some dopamine. But do not try to, if you haven't exercised before, don't just say, well, starting tomorrow I'll do 45 minutes every day, until the day I die. But just don't try that. And again, if you can do it, good for you, good for you. That means you really do have a lot of willpower and that you really build it gradually. It didn't just happen. I know that. How do I know? There's a lot of research behind it. We'll talk about willpower too.